Okay, it's going.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Everyone's dead!
Basically, half of them.
How many are there total? Because 11 of them died.
Well, 11.
And we're okay with spoiling this because this is what this is the point of this. We're spoiling everything.
So there are probably a few people who are still alive. But here's the thing: we don't know everyone's status.
We don't know Black Panther's sister. I hope she's alive, because Sneakers. I hope Wong's alive. I hope freaking when they showed that end credits, I was like, please don't kill Nick Fury.
Nick Fury.
I was like, they're gonna.
So sad. Gosh darn. God. And they played it for a little bit of comedy at the end.
Yes. I mean, what other way is there for the Mr. Snakes on a plane to go out?
Exactly.
I mean.
Okay, goodness. So Thanos. I liked him.
Yeah, me too.
I will say, when I was going into it, I was like, how the heck are they gonna pull off Thanos being actually both intimidating and a good villain?
Yeah, because they got Loki. As far as good villains, they got Loki. They got
Killmonger.
Yes, I liked Killmonger. Caecilius? He cried that one time.
Yeah.
And I like Mads Mikkelsen. So that helps.
And the Vulture was a pretty decent villain.
The Vulture
from Homecoming.
I still need to see Homecoming. That's well, now I can be sad and see Homecoming and be like, Peter. Oh, I'm so sad. Peter. Spider-Man. Who's gonna be the friendly neighborhood? Well, I guess they got Miles.
Yeah, Miles Morales.
But I still want more Pete. We just got him. He was
so good as Spider-Man, and now he's dead.
Oh, he's dead. Freaking.
That was the most heart-wrenching scene.
All save for one of the Guardians are dead. Ugh.
Unless you count Nebula, because she's still alive.
I guess she counts. Yeah, she's part of it now. Sure, she was on the poster of the last one.
Yeah. I'm confused also because I thought for sure maybe it's gonna be waited until I don't know, because that doesn't make any sense. Because Adam Warlock was teased at the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy 2. The Sovereign guys were putting on the thing, and she was like, I think I will call him Adam. And so that's like, I was like, oh, so obviously they're like, he's gonna come in somehow and do something, right? But I guess maybe that's for Guardians 3, but I don't know how that's gonna work.
Oh no, there's a couple of other people who are not accounted for. What about Ant-Man and the Wasp?
True. Ooh. Where does their movie take? Like when?
Probably before. They got it before.
What if it's during? That would be so hardcore crazy. If like in the middle of the movie, like one of them dissipates.
Oh no.
Or maybe like near the end or something, and it's just like, wait, what?
I don't know that Marvel.
I don't know if they have. But they did just kill half their cast.
They did.
So maybe they do. I also would like to point out that they had Peter Dinklage from who was in Game of Thrones as the dwarf, and he was giant.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, dwarves don't mean short necessarily.
Yeah.
Also, it's kind of fitting that Game of Thrones character was in this after everyone died.
Yes. Is he dead? Oh no.
That's a good question.
I think Thanos would intentionally try to keep him alive, right?
True, potentially.
If he could.
What planet did Thanos end on? Would you think that was Gamora's planet again, with it like a paradise, like he had said it was?
Maybe.
Or is
That's
it like his
question.
own? I mean,
you could read a lot into that. He could have reality'd Titan.
Yeah.
Just so he could have some nostalgia.
What? Okay.
But the gauntlet's broken.
The gauntlet is broken. And we don't know if the Infinity Stones are broken or if it's just the gauntlet so allowing him to wield it. Crazy speculation, just because I'm thinking of Ego. What if I mean, there's got to be more Celestials, right?
Yeah, there's got to be.
So what if he's on a Celestial? I mean, crazy speculation, but like, he could easily have decided that like to make a house to like live on like giant planet-sized being that has like nigh unlimited power. Like that would be a very Thanos thing, right? I would think.
I guess so.
Did he kill half the planet when he snapped his fingers?
I'm sure he wouldn't hesitate.
Yeah.
Shit.
Man, when he was like, you should have gone for the head, I was like, ah!
I thought he was just gonna turn back time, but no, he's not messing around. He's just like, boom, dead.
It was like, let's just do it. I have it. It's ready to go. I said I can do it in the snap of my fingers. Guess what? I did. So.
Also, props to Thanos snapping his fingers with a metal glove.
Right, that's truth.
It's freaking.
It's a dwarf forge glove. I'm sure it's like.
Oh yeah, it's got all tons of magic. One of the specific powers on the bullet points is can snap fingers easily. It's like, whoa, this is totally magic then.
Where are we going, by the way?
Your place.
Okay.
And to use the bathroom, and if Eric's there, then I guess we can talk in the car.
Yeah. Oh goodness gracious. There's another like big point I wanted to. Man, Spider-Man just got the new suit.
Yeah.
And Iron Man just got stabbed. I mean, yeah, he like used his goo gun to heal him up. But like
his foam flare.
I 100% thought, because what's his name?
Robert Downey
Jr.'s contract's running out.
Yeah.
So I thought for sure that it was just gonna be all like, his contract's up. Stabbed him, he's dead. There we go.
Did a whole fake out, like just like they did in Gears of War with Combine, where it's like, oh, you thought we were gonna kill Combine again, but
oh gosh.
And Scarlet Witch, she never got her own movie. Like, well, like I said, they could always do prequels, but yeah. I don't feel like that is like what they're going for.
Oh gosh, darn. I'm just thinking of all of the different, like, man, the internet is going to be a buzz.
And a landmine.
Yeah.
A minefield.
I won't be a landmine for us because we've seen it, but for everyone else.
It's a minefield. I listened to the Co-optional podcast, and they mentioned how like there are people just going on random Twitch streams and just like, well, maybe not for Infinity Wars, but like for something else. I don't know. But like no doubt it was for God of War. Dad of War, which is apparently very, very good. But I'm sure they'll do it for this. I'm sure the first thing I'm gonna see when I like go on YouTube or Reddit or Tumblr, like someone's gonna be like, God damn it.
Oh, so Matt Pat got it wrong again.
What was his prediction?
He thought for sure that the Soul Stone was going to be the MacGuffin that was going to be like the main thing for the second movie, and that it was going to be 4 stones this movie, 2 stones next. And I mean, he's wrong.
Nope.
He also was like the Soul Stone's in Heimdall, because he has the orange eyes and was able to see into people's souls, and he talks about having a connection to the millions of souls of the universe.
He sees everyone.
So he was like, obviously Heimdall has the Soul Stone somewhere in his chest. I mean, in the first movie, in his armor, there's an orange stone in the middle of it, and he was like, but no, I mean, he's wrong. So
I have no idea where they freaking Thanos won. Like he did what he sought out to do. He won.
It's one of those movies.
Now it's just about revenge. Like what can Captain Marvel do? What can the Avengers do?
That's true.
Other
Captain
than
Marvel.
Take revenge.
Truth be told, don't know a lot about Captain Marvel.
I just know that she's just like the Superman equivalent, aside from Captain, obviously, but like Captain's the Superman equivalent, but in terms of powers, I think she's like the one, besides Vision. Well, Vision's like not, but obviously they're not gonna kill her because she has a movie and they set her up, so they can't dust. Though that would be, I would give them props of the year if they did that, because like what a fake out. Oh, we announced Captain Marvel. Here's her movie. She dies at the end.
Yep.
Dust. Yeah, remember that? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Crud.
we know that knife is still in your heart, so we're gonna twist it a little bit.
Ah.
Ouch.
My goodness.
Oh, and I like that movies that do this are really smart, and it's like a really kind of cheating, I want to say, way of like characterizing a character is by like straight up asking, what is this thing that you like? What's the thing that you hate? What's the thing that makes you sad? And that really gives Thanos that dimension where it's like you have to sacrifice something you love. And it's like, oh no, here comes the abusive relationship thing again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yep. As soon as he like looked down, I was like, oh no.
And like oh gosh, the fact that he was like actually crying, because you expect Thanos to be like not really caring about anything.
Yeah.
And yet he actually cares.
Yeah. Well, that's
Gamora.
that's the thing about abusive relationships, right? Is that it's like. And it's the whole thing about intentions,
Mm-hmm.
the path to hell is paved with good intentions. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure he did love her, but because he gave her all the best stuff, the best training and all that, and just like they said in Guardians 2, like she was his favorite,
Uh-huh.
and like,
Oh god.
I really like his motivation in this more than the comics about like,
Yeah.
I want to impress love or death. I love death, literally, and also the figure.
Yeah,
like,
I think this was like a much more like understandable. I
Yeah,
guess.
because like I said with Star Wars, a good villain makes sense, and they have a motivation that like if you were a little bit less moral, you could see their point. And like,
Hello?
Eric,
Is there anyone in here?
is Eric here?
No.
Okay, so we won't spoil.
I'm using this.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Ah, my heart hurts. Ah. Should have kept it on. Ah, still dying. Ah.
Oof. Okay.
Let's. All right. Let's recount who died. There was.
So.
From the first, there was the Falcon.
Yep.
Scarlet Witch.
Groot.
Groot. Ah, Groot.
I know, Groot.
Everyone was in tears when Groot died.
Yep.
Freaking Black Panther.
Oh.
That hurt.
Yes.
That hurt really bad.
He was such a good character.
He was so clueless too. He was just like, "Come on, this is no place to die." Dies. Like he fought till the very end.
Okay, and then if we look at...
Was that everyone on the Earth side?
Was it? Because that's only 4. We know 11 people died.
Winter Soldier died.
Winter Soldier, yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Then all the Guardians, except for Rocket and Nebula. So that's...
Gamora...
Well, Gamora died earlier.
Yeah, she didn't die in the mass snap fiasco. Star-Lord... Drax...
and then...
Mantis...
And then, of course, Doctor Strange.
Spider-Man!
No!
He was just a boy! Okay,
I don't want
Nick
to go.
Fury
that
and
line. Nick Fury and
his assistant.
lady person from the first Avengers who was really cool, but we keep forgetting her name.
Yeah. She is pretty cool, despite not knowing her name.
Who was it? It was If we're just counting everyone who died in the movie, including Gamora, that also includes then Loki and Heimdall, which is just sad.
I thought he was invincible. Like.
Right.
Alright, who else? Oh, I haven't seen Ragnarok, so I don't know about I didn't know about the whole, like, Asgard is exploded, so I don't know who died there. But.
Well, all of Asgard is dead, because they're all floating in space.
Right. Jeez.
You didn't see Ragnarok?
No, I'm going to, I promise. I'll do my homework.
It's on Netflix now,
Oh, is it really?
or it might not be Netflix. It's on Definitely, I'm pretty sure it's in Redbox.
Okay.
You can find it there.
I'll find a way to watch that in Homecoming.
It's good. Oh, Homecoming's so good too. Let's see. So that's like 15?
So that's 15 people.
At least 15.
15 for sure people.
That we know. We don't know
dead.
The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah, we don't know if Wong's dead.
Wong, yeah.
We don't know if
Shuri,
sister,
yeah.
smart sister. We don't know if she's
Sneakers
dead.
is dead. We don't know.
We don't know who of the original Guardians are dead.
We don't know who.
Even though they didn't show up.
Yeah.
God, anyone could be dead now.
Anyone from any. We don't technically know about the Ant-Man or the Wasp.
Yeah.
Like we don't know where their movie takes place in the timeline, so we can't say. We don't know about Hawkeye or his family.
No, Ian, why'd you say that?
I don't know.
No.
Because he wasn't in this movie.
I know, but him and also his family are potential. Everyone's a potential victim. Oh. Although, I hate it, but I like that they weren't afraid to just be like, I bet, maybe not for some of them. I bet they just rolled some dice and assigned names and just rolled some dice and went to a random generator. Just be like, all right, this person, oh man, I liked him. All right, he dies, she dies, she dies.
Spider-Man, no! Spider-Man! And then they're just like, well, good. Just got that from Fox or Sony or whatever.
Yeah.
Sony. Now we gotta kill him. Oh well. That's what. How the algorithm works. No, I don't know. That's one theory. Or they've been planning this since Iron Man 1 in 2008. Not likely. Oh gosh. Well, okay. Let's get away from the sad things for a while. We'll go back to it. And let's talk about cool things. What do we thought was super cool? Oh.
So many cool establishing shots and just just shots in general. I like a nice private movie going experience and just watching something on my own too. Sometimes I just like being able to just experience it myself. But being in a crowd and cheering together, that was a nice experience. Although I didn't, I hate being that guy, but the guy in the back that kept laughing at every single line out loud. I could tell those are forced laughs, you man. Just because you get a reference or they said a word oh, get off your ass. Ha! It's and he had to do it out loud. How do you not know? I was so tempted to lean back and be like, hey, tell that guy to maybe tone it down, pass it on. Just play telephone.
Yeah. No.
But oh man, when okay, so let's go chronologically. All right, so the
very beginning,
Hulk drops.
Oh yeah.
And I like that Tony is starting to run into people with as big an ego as he
right.
is. Maybe he might reflect on that.
But okay, we're going to really beginning. I will say, Thanos kicking Hulk's butt, that was really cool.
Oh, that was cool.
Because the Hulk is all about this brute, I will smash you because I'm super strong. And Thanos just goes in and just boom, boom, boom.
You can see it on his face.
Every single part that he would need to stop the Hulk. He just did it. He was just I'm very concentrated right now.
You could see it on his face too that the Hulk was he was wincing. He was
He's like, what is that?
Yeah.
What's going on? Because of course at that point, Thanos had the Power Stone. So so that meant he had infinite power. So he could beat the Hulk who has infinite not infinite power, his power grows with his anger.
How he got that. Do they explain that in one of the movies?
No. So we know that the Power Stone was in possession of the corporation people from Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And so they mention it as Thor mentions it, and he's just after he destroyed these people, then the Guardians were like, oh, we didn't know that happened.
Oh, okay. So they just said he got it off.
Yeah, he just wiped them out and took it.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's just bam, there we go. It's over there. And so that fight sequence, even though it was very short and to the point, where the Hulk just got destroyed, I was like, We've never seen the Hulk get so destroyed.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen him, fight the Hulkbuster armor, but that was pretty close.
Yeah.
And
Not on a one-on-one, just like boxing match. Like he just got wrecked at his own game.
Yeah.
Like the few things that knocked him out of Hulk are being dropped from space. How did he get beaten in Avengers 2? Was it with the Hulkbuster?
It was Sun's getting real low stuff, wasn't it?
No.
Or
I
no,
mean, while they were fighting with the Hulkbuster,
right.
was the Hulkbuster the catalyst that like?
I don't remember. Ooh, I do not remember that off the top of my head.
Yeah, me neither.
I know he definitely powered down twice with Natasha and Black Widow doing the whole little lullaby thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and then in Ragnarok, which you haven't seen, but you know from the trailers, right, that Thor and Hulk fight.
Yeah.
I won't tell you the outcome of that.
Yeah.
But, it's a pretty good fight.
I don't doubt it.
So, seeing Hulk just destroyed, I was like, okay, so you've now established Thanos' power level.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Because, of course, Loki was all like, we have a Hulk. And then I was just like, oh, look at that. This is a cute callback to whenever he was, he was the one who got hit by the Hulk. And he was like, because of course, he was like, what army? And Tony Stark was like, we have the Hulk.
Yeah, nice callback.
So it was a nice callback. But then, so that was really cool. And then, him, the clashing egos between Tony Stark and Doctor Strange.
Yep.
It was just.
Look at big ego. There's a lot of big ego characters in Marvel. We got Tony Stark. We got Doctor Strange. We got Rocket. We got Star-Lord.
Oh my gosh.
We got. Oh no! Star-Lord basically ruined everything. Man. Oh, how I'm actually mad now, like at Star-Lord. I'm legitimately mad at him.
But you have to wonder, did Doctor Strange know that was gonna happen, and he let it happen? That's the thing with Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
He just throws all of the things into questions because he's like, I looked at all the things. We won one way, and so it's like. Well, if they won one way, and he says, this is the only way before he disappears...
I feel like that's a little bit cheating on the writer's part. Like, they're writing it so that you can excuse all conflict. And I don't know how I feel about that.
Like, that's the thing, is like, we don't know whether he meant there was one way we could have won against Thanos before him getting the Infinity Stones. Because, he was fully participating in the battle. He wasn't, going half-heartedly. He was just like, yes, we can probably... If we can get the glove off of him, that's the one way we can win. And then he was just like, well, darn, okay, let's put the odds in our favor.
Is there the other one way?
Did he lie and say there was one way?
And,
we don't know, because Doctor Strange is very strange. He is a bit weird. But, I like the butterflies. That was a good... Anyway.
A bit? Who am I to judge? And what does he mean by win? There's nothing to do now.
Because Thanos won.
Yeah, this is it. It's over.
He doesn't care anymore. He went off to his hut in the hills of weird green planet.
And
there's just
and if it's
and it says Thanos will return at the end of it.
There's nothing left for either him or the good guys to do, because I don't know that bringing people back is going to be that easy, if possible at all.
Right, and then if they do bring people back, then what was the point?
Yeah, then
it's a cool spectacle, but why?
Yeah.
Why kill them in the first place if you're just gonna in one movie bring them back?
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing can be said about, the new Spider-Man. Why make a character and then in one movie kill him?
Yeah.
And it's he serves a different purpose.
Yeah.
So...
Although, I will say that is I don't know how intentional this is, but it does capture the whole, not to get dark and, real, but, if it's like real death, where it's oh, but I didn't get to spend enough time with you. You know,
Yeah,
I think that's why it hurts so much because like so many of these characters don't have their own movies yet or will ever. You know, like
Or they had one movie and
Or
it
they
was
had one
really
movie.
good, and you were like, I can't wait for the next one. And then
Or-
it's just
or they've had a bunch and you feel so attached to them, and then now they're dead. Like
I really wanted another Doctor Strange movie,
yeah, me too.
but then he's dead.
Yeah.
So
Like it's like I wanted to spend more time. I want a Scarlet Witch movie. I want
I don't know, man. Okay.
I want another Spider-Man. I want him to fight the Rhino. I don't know if he fights the Rhino in Homecoming.
No. He has one bad guy.
I want him to have sexual tension with Black Cat.
Oh my gosh.
I want a Black
We
Cat
have to
movie.
get over there. We have to get to that point. Well, that's going to be Miles Morales probably.
Yeah.
And just plop him in there, which is fine. He's a great Spider-Man. But
Wait,
it's
is
just
he
like,
is he the same? Is he the same universe or is he a different?
He's the same universe. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, in the comics, he's the same universe as the normal comics Peter Parker.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
I
always
don't
get all
remember
these
what
different
Earth numbers
Spider-Mans.
it is. It's
I always
whatever.
get all these Spider-Mans mixed up.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Speaking of other like cool things, kind of going back to that whole chronological order thing. I really liked the Mouth. He was the guy who did all the wizardry stuff against because he was the mouth of Thanos or whatever. The guy who was like who every time he'd show
Squidward.
up.
Yeah,
Squidward.
I like Squidward.
Yeah, he'd be like
Squidward.
yeah, he'd be like
Calm down,
like praise be or whatever.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like you should be happy that you are going
he
to
was the
die.
one who specced into Int. Yeah.
Right? And he just is like all of his magic was just really cool. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, look at this guy. He'd be a cool boss fight, right?
I think he had more charisma and character alone in the whatever how many minutes he was on screen than most of the other Marvel movie villains.
Right?
Just because he's just cool and he owns it and he likes being evil.
Mm.
There needs to be more
I
villains
thought
that like being
just
evil.
generally the whole Children of Thanos group, I thought they were all really good side villains.
Yeah.
Like, I was at first kind of apprehensive because I was like, they're gonna have like 6 villains and then Thanos. Like, how's that gonna work? And you kind of got. There's one that you didn't really get to see much of. It was the guy who got stabbed at the beginning, and she was all like, "Get up!" and he was like, "I can't." But like the otherwise, like the big brute guy was kind of fun because he had like all these weird ways to deal with stuff. Like he had his claw grabbing thingy, and he could like throw chains and
like
stuff.
this chain hammer thing.
And he would just be like, "Roar!" all the time. Like, that was the only thing he would ever say. It was just, "Roar!" And everyone else is being eloquent or whatever. Stinking wizard dude. Squidward was awesome.
I like how brutal they went out, too.
Mhm.
Like,
Gosh, he was sucked in. Did you remember that movie Alien? Really old movie? Swooped. Then, I liked that, Spider-Man. I like that he had his spider sense actually doing things, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
'Cause he was just like, there's something's not right, and then the Guardians of the
we're all
Galaxy
gonna
show up.
die! Most of them probably are.
Oh no! We don't know if Ned's dead! Yeah, you didn't watch Homecoming, so you don't have much of a connection.
I know the character, though. Like,
Ah!
I
I don't know!
Maybe he's the next Spider-Man. No, he's
the
not.
next. Oh gosh.
Okay, alright, and that happened, and the flying donut crashed in.
Yeah. Then I really liked her name, but I can't remember. It was like something Midnight. The lady of the Children of Thanos who fought Black Widow, and she also went out brutally.
Oh yeah.
They all died really, like, other than the guy who was stabbed just once by Captain America. They all got like really brutally murdered.
Sucked out into space on your own ship, dragged across the Wakanda border and exploded. Thrown
into a driving drill thingy.
Of your own army and just chopped up. Ugh.
Gosh.
That was awesome. That'll get some brutal points by Cinema Wins.
Yeah, it's brutal. Gosh.
Brutal.
I thought that all of them were cool little side villains.
Yeah, I like that.
And so I'm happy they were able to actually do them justice and make them actually threatening.
Yeah.
And not just like
I think what helps is that they made them actually evil. Like, I know, I get it, like, you gotta have more complicated characters now. You're gonna have a sympathetic Thanos, which I like. But, like, sometimes it's nice to have a character that's just
And here's the
evil.
thing. Is, like, I feel like it works better that way because Thanos is sympathetic and these guys weren't, but Thanos probably didn't show that kind of sympathy to them.
Yeah.
So they would be, following Thanos the Mad Titan, Thanos the killer of half the universe, not knowing that there was a Thanos the father who loved his adopted daughter.
Yeah, so now we get best of both worlds. We get evil villains who like being evil and it's satisfying to kill them, and also your little complex villain who's like the big bad.
Who all the people who are still alive want to kill because they don't see him as complex at all.
Yes, no, because like now it's just about revenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
right.
Because it's just like what is he gonna do? Get the Infinity Stones again and snap? No, he's not. He's done.
Yeah, he said, "I'm gonna snap my fingers," and he was like, "And then what?" Then I'm gonna go rest.
Yeah.
And then I'm done. I did my duty. I
go have a wank and a biscuit, like.
There it is. So yeah,
he didn't even put on his armor. He's so like proud.
And that's what I'm actually wondering is like, so they're gonna try to have some sort of revenge against him. Is he just gonna be like, I don't care?
Yeah.
Like, is he not gonna even?
He's got no reason to fight.
I mean, if you guys find me, cool. But
Yeah.
I mean,
unless his plan, I don't know what Thanos' lifespan is, but unless his plan is to do this like every few millennia or something.
I would imagine. I mean, I don't know, because we don't know exactly how old he can be. I mean, if Thor is like 15,000 or whatever years old,
then
Thanos probably could live millions of years or something. Yeah. Oh gosh.
You take your ball sack chin self. Oh, now I'm sad again.
The bubbles! I like that. Yeah, every time that he would try, like, someone would try to kill him, he would just bubbleify their gun or their dagger or something. And it was just like, oh, well, I guess the Reality Stone's a fun tool.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I really appreciated, was whenever he would, like, mix together the uses of the things.
Yeah.
I thought that all the Infinity Stones had some pretty cool powers. I'd say the one that was the least exciting was the Power Stone, because it was just like, pew, I shot something, or boom, I punched really hard. Yeah. It's just like, okay, cool.
Nondescript purple power.
I mean, like, he made a shield of himself at one point with it.
Yeah.
The Space Stone, I really like the effect it has for teleporting everywhere. It's super nice looking. I also like the transition between super lightning Thor and it being him walking through the teleportation circle. That was a cool transition.
Yeah.
Speaking
of Thor, freaking powered up Thor with
what's
his new axe called?
Stormbreaker.
Stormbreaker.
You gotta see Ragnarok.
I do.
I want to watch it now. I don't think we have it right now.
And
it's also
I
a little
work
late.
Tomorrow.
Ew, work.
So yeah, too late.
Ugh. Anyway, so yeah, next time you get a chance.
Yes, definitely.
Next Tuesday or whatever. I don't know. Thor was really good, really cool. I really like that. Him opening the iris and getting blasted by the neutron star was just like, wow.
Oh, man. And if I had a recorder that was not my phone, I would have like held it in there just to record people's reactions, like, and not spoil the movie, because those are some nice, like, that's like music to my ears whenever the camaraderie of everyone going like, yeah, that's an awesome shot when Thor comes down and crashes, got this new suit and new weapon,
super lightning, just like, there we go. Where is that going with? Once again, like we said earlier, we don't know what exactly the Soul Stone did or does. Like, he never used it in battle to do something against people, which I thought was like, I was like, oh man, just let me see. Oh gosh, I don't know. The next movie is like so far out though.
Yeah, I have no idea what it could be
about. How the heck are they going to? Because all of the next phase 4, phase 5, I don't know, is like taking place somewhere in the timeline, but we don't know where in the timeline between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Unnamed movie, Infinity War 2 probably.
Yeah.
We don't know if it's taking place actually in between, or if it's all at the very beginning of the movie, or it's all at the end of the movie, or it's in the middle, or if it's before, if it's a prequel, if it's a...
Yeah.
So it just makes things really confusing for the Marvel universe for the next couple of movies. I guess we just have to wait and see when the next one comes out, which is Ant-Man and the Wasp, which now I'm a lot more excited about.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, I mean, it's going to be a fun movie, I'm sure. But now I'm like, wait, how's it? Huh?
Yeah.
So, I'm curious more than I was. I wonder if they did that on purpose, just to go and see Ant-Man and the Wasp. So, just to see how it fits, because everyone's dead.
They got it. My prediction is that they do it before the Infinity War incident. Because
Also, like,
they got it, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Half of Earth is dead, right?
Yes.
So
literally half of Earth and all of the universe is dead.
Yeah, half of the universe is dead. That's just ridiculous.
Rocket's all alone.
Mm-hmm.
Poor guy. That poor rabbit.
Rabbit. Oh gosh.
Man. One thing that I am excited for about that is like the growth, the character growth. Like Rocket's got to shape up after this. Like Rocket's got to shape up. Tony's got to shape up, even though he has been shaping up.
Oh my gosh.
Poor Tony.
So we already knew that he suffered from some hardcore PTSD from the first Avengers.
Yeah.
So how the heck is he gonna deal with seeing the freaking Peter Parker dying in his arms and turning to dust?
Begging, hey, I don't want this to happen. It's like that scene from Saving Private Ryan where it's like, oh, please no, please no. Peter, why? Peter, my boy. He was just a boy.
Oh, what's her name going to be alive still? We don't know. His fiance, Pepper, yeah.
No.
So we don't know anything about her either. She's on the question mark list.
Oh. And she totally, like, I understand her pain. She's like, I can't do this. Like, I can't date a superhero. I can't be married to a superhero because this is too much. I'm like, I feel you, Pepper. I feel you on an emotional level, on a spiritual level.
Goodness gracious. I will say, it is very impressive that with the number of characters they had in the movie and the number of plot lines going on, that it was cohesive.
Yeah, it didn't feel crowded at all.
Like, I felt like I was like, oh, cool, they got back to this part. Oh, man. Now
because that's what happens
like it's time to get back
when
to
you
this
have
part,
enough movies to establish these characters, so you don't have to establish them in the movie where they all come together.
Right.
You know, because if this were to be judged as a standalone movie, which I find that whole thing ridiculous. Like, I get it, but like you just can't anymore. We don't, you have to. Like, if this were to be judged as if all the other movies didn't exist, this would be too many characters. We wouldn't know their motivations. We wouldn't know their backstories.
We wouldn't care.
But the fact that we do have it makes it feel less crowded. Makes it feel like, oh, I know these characters and I can, they're distinct and I can tell them apart. I can tell all the big egoed white males apart from each other. I
really liked it. Talking about white males. No, whenever they were fighting the lady children of Thanos, it was Black Widow, the lady warrior from Wakanda, and Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, girl power.
It was girl power. And then, of course, we're getting Captain Marvel. So, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be so
I say again, what's she gonna do? What are they gonna? Everyone's dead, and that's the thing that Quest like they can't. Can they bring them back? Like I don't know.
It keeps on skirting its line. It's like I want them to bring them back because I don't want them to be dead.
Yeah.
But I don't want them to bring them back because it cheapens it.
Yeah.
But does it really cheapen it, or is it just a jaded thought that it cheapens it?
Because like, it's a complicated situation because if you can't bring them back, which I'm gonna predict that you can't, then what's the point of going after Thanos? You know?
Right. It's just petty revenge because like he said that or at least the mouth of Thanos or whatever it's called, Squidward said that it was like you'll be happy when it's all done with. You know, he was kept on saying that you're going to be happy, it's going to be paradise and all these things because there's now less people.
Parallels between Thanos' speech in the real world. Like just like how the unfortunate truth that war is very profitable. During World War One, there's after World War One, what happened? The Roaring Twenties. Economy's great. Same with World War II somewhat, because it's like, you're producing things and you're expending things and like, it's good. The bad things are good in the long run. And then like, he makes a good, if immoral point that yes, less mouths to feed.
It's the whole goes back to the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
I like that theme ran throughout the whole thing over and over again.
Because it was like between Doctor Strange and Iron Man, and then Vision and Captain America and Thanos' entire thing.
Yeah, that running theme, needs of the many, needs of the few. It's like, what is one life to millions? Well, then what are a few millions to billions and billions in the future, I guess, is Thanos' point. Like, what are a few billion lives for the rest of, the future to prosper? Which I guess that's the flaw in not only the immorality that it's like the fact that it makes him a villain, but like the flaw in his logic is like it's just gonna happen again eventually.
Mm-hmm. And you're just gonna need another dwarf to make you another gauntlet so we can get that Infinity Stones again. Because here's the thing. Did they leave? Does he still have them?
Yeah. So they're still intact.
They're still intact.
His gauntlets.
His gauntlets all busted.
Yeah.
But I think he still has them. I didn't see them shoot off like Dragon Balls or anything.
No.
To the far corners of the universe.
And then to find them again.
Yeah, it's not like they have the Dragon Radar or whatever, so it's not like that's the whole, like... Did he just like take it off and sit down in his hut and go strolling outside to sit on his rocking chair? I don't know. We don't know. Also, he's like half all burnt up now, and he has a giant axe wound in his chest. Yeah, I mean, if Thor had gone for the head, it would have been over. There we go. Boom.
Thank you. We need Captain Hindsight to tell us how to fix this. Yeah.
It reminds me of the slight sidetrack here. In the Elder Scrolls, the dwarves were just elves. They were normal-sized elves, but they were called dwarves because giants did business with them, and so the giants called them dwarves, and then that just was the name that everyone chose.
Dwarves don't have to be Tolkien style, short and stout.
It's like, I mean, I thought that was just really.
I like them that way, but they don't have to be all the time.
Sometimes they can be robots with little wheels and a crossbow on one arm.
Silly Ian, those aren't dwarves; those are dwarf constructs. Actually, in the fourth book of the Septum King the Seventh, they said that.
Yes.
Chug my Mountain Dew. Jeez. Ooh. I wonder how the whole like death snap works for unkillable things. Like.
Okay, yes.
Like Deadpool or Thor or other gods.
Well, is Thor unkillable?
I guess not. No.
Because like he's an Asgardian, yes. I mean he's the the leader of the Asgardians, but all the Asgardians died.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess it's like relative.
So yes, okay. So
he's a god relative to mortals.
yeah. Okay. For Deadpool,
he probably just like dusts away, right? Just like
yeah.
everybody else.
Like I think that his crazy healing factor probably would not be able to
You know
heal through him being disintegrated into non-existence.
That makes sense.
His reality no longer exists.
The disintegration probably transcends any sort of like
So
powers.
I think like the only things that could be completely unkillable would be death. Probably it wasn't killed by death. And
Anyone Thanos chooses, probably.
yeah, I mean I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, because he did say random.
Yeah, it's entirely random who dies.
Yeah, so that it's fair in his words.
But I mean, it didn't feel random. Technically, if it was really random, there's a potential that none of the Avengers, none of the characters from that we cared about died.
There's a chance.
But of course, that wasn't the chance that they took.
I wonder if Doctor Strange was like, one of the realities where it works is one where he's alive and he's like, this is the way it has to. Oh shit! And then he's like, damn, not this one.
He's like, oh crud, the random chances!
Yeah, RNG1!
But then, okay, so I will say, whenever he snapped and it cut to him in the Orange Land or whatever, I was like, did it kill him too?
Yeah.
Like, did he just snap, kill half the universe, including himself, because it's random? And I was like, wow. I guess that's one way to kill Thanos.
Yeah.
Just have him just snap himself.
I'm sure he'd be okay with it because
I mean, sure, yeah.
As evil as it is, like he's the perfect encapsulation of someone who believes they're doing good and like is willing to sacrifice himself.
Would you consider
like a hero.
him lawful evil?
I would consider him lawful good.
Lawful good.
Lawful
Interesting.
good.
Would you consider?
Wait, no, lawful neutral.
Lawful neutral.
Because he's like, this is how it has to be, regardless of how I feel and how I need to. Because like he's thinking completely 100% logical. He's thinking 100% logical.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Rational.
Yeah, because he wasn't. So in his head, it's the greater good.
Yes.
Which would put it towards him being considered lawful good if we went all the way out and just said it's based on what you believe. If you believe you're doing good, then you're lawful good.
Right.
But then if he was like, I'm doing this so that the world will, the universe will, suffer or something, or the universe will bow to me or something. That's more of a lawful evil kind of way of looking at it. He was I'm doing this so the universe is balanced.
He wants to save it.
We want the balance of the universe needs to be kept, and so that would definitely be lawful neutral.
Well, this is why I don't like doing alignment because they're subjective. But like if we were to go, because everyone has their own beliefs of alignment, and like mine is bad at explaining the difference between lawful neutral and lawful good. So like if you ask me, I'm not going to be able to tell you what he is like because I could go whatever.
Yeah.
Oh
man, that was
one of
I think I consider Thanos the best villain. I think it's probably the best villain they've made.
Absolutely.
Which is saying something because like Killmonger was such a good villain.
Yeah.
Because he was like so relatable and so understandable. You knew what he was like, why he was doing it, what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
And
I'm
like you were like,
yeah, dude,
he's kind of technically right.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, going about it the wrong way, but like.
Yeah, because like he was a villain that was trying to teach the heroes the lesson that they eventually do learn towards the end. They're like, yeah, you know what? We shouldn't hide all this and like kill people and wrong them for the sake of our own country.
Yeah.
You know?
And Loki's a good villain because, again, he was like, especially in the first Thor movie and in the first Avengers, because that's when he was villains. He was very relatable for the fact that he was like, this adopted son who like wanted approval of his father.
And he's just been lied to,
lied to his entire life.
Just like the false hope that he was given. Like you really feel for this guy.
And not to mention he's really charismatic.
Yeah.
And like just
because
super
Tom
fun.
Hiddleston is adorable.
So like he was like the best villain Marvel ever did for a long time because of the fact that like he was a good villain, but he was just fun to like watch and
Do
listen
you
to.
even remember the main villain from the first 2 Thor movies?
Well, it was the King of the Ice, the Frost Giants plus Loki for the first one. And the second one was the Dark Elf guy and the Aether stuff, basically.
Right, the Aether.
Malakath, I think is what. No, not Malakath. That's Elder Scrolls.
I don't even remember.
It starts with an M, and he was played by the Ninth Doctor.
So we got King of generic bad guy, who's just bigger bad guy, and we got some dude like Dark Elf.
The King of the Dark Elves.
Two
kings of bad guys.
So it feels like those cheap bad guys in video games where it's like it's a bigger version and they have a bigger health bar.
Yeah.
Like that's how it feels.
And then you had Loki, who was like, I'm Loki, I'm awesome. And I have an actual character
I'm Loki.
arc. I have a character arc, you care about me.
Yeah.
And
you never know what I'm gonna do, so you know.
That is why I'm so. Because, okay, he. Like, when he was going up and pledging his allegiance to Thanos,
I thought he would go through with it.
Like, at first I was like, okay, I see what he's doing. He's gonna go through with it, but he's the god of mischief. He's obviously gonna like betray him after they get to Earth or something. But then he was just like
immediately.
I
thought it would take more time than that.
Yeah, like because I was like, you're the god of mischief. Be more mischievous.
Yeah, that's like the oldest trick in the book. Like that's something I would write.
Right? It's like if I was, I mean, okay, if I was writing the movie, I would have had Loki probably have gone through with pledging his allegiance, and like the way that it would have shown to Thor that he wasn't really doing it would have been a really cheeky finger, crossed fingers behind his back thing, just to be like, haha, funny humor. Just because it would be, played for a laugh that he's like, Thor would be like, what? Okay, sure. And then later on he would have gone and mischievized and been able to help and actually be useful to the plot and not just kill.
Yeah, I feel like that's a bad case of making the character stupid for the sake of drama or the plot.
And also, it's just like...
Because I feel like that was a dumb move.
He didn't die from the finger snap thing, right? So if there was even a way to reverse the finger snap, he's still dead.
Yeah.
So it's not like we can be like, oh man, if they bring characters back, it's like, nope, Loki's dead unless he does his resurrection thing and becomes a child in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Then, in that case. But
what other villains are good? I guess the Winter Soldier counts as a villain, right?
Yeah, he counted as a villain, but like the real villain of that was the weird Nazi scientist.
Yeah. And the Hydra guy that working in S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. So
I guess he's alright.
Yeah, I mean, the actual villain himself was kind of just like, okay, you're a Nazi.
Oh, Red Skull. I like Red Skull because he's your typical mustache-twirling villain, but he's not very deep.
Yeah.
He's just like super Hitler.
Yeah. Obadiah's from Iron Man 1 was not that great of a villain. He was okay. He was like, I have a big version of your suit.
Yeah.
And we're buddies, but now I hate you because you're making us lose money. That was his whole thing. Iron Man 2's villain...
Also, I can't take him seriously because he's the Big Lebowski. I just see the Big Lebowski when I look at Obadiah's.
Iron Man 2's villain it was the lightning whip guy, who was cool in concept, kind of...
It's not
deliver.
my bird.
Yeah,
that's not my bird.
Yeah,
that's all I remember about him.
He didn't deliver too much as like a good villain.
Yeah, it was
really,
just revenge. He just wanted revenge.
And the real villain or whatever with the corporation guy was another Obadiah's.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I have a lot of money and I think I'm better than Tony Stark.
Another suit. Yeah.
Not
my bird.
Yeah.
Not my bird.
Yeah, like we already went through Thor.
Iron Man 3 was another guy in a suit.
Another guy in a suit, another weird experiment thing. The weird exploding gel that made everyone... Extremist, that was what it was called.
Yeah.
Made everyone superpowered, but killed them. And it was Pepper Potts became Super Pepper Potts.
Iron Pepper.
Yeah. So it was a weird one. It wasn't really a great villain.
I recommend putting iron pepper in your next your next meal. It tastes delicious.
Let's see. We already said Red Skull.
Guardians 1 had that
Ronan, who they killed him with the power of dance.
Yeah.
And the Power Stone, of course, as well.
I found him boring.
He was what I thought Thanos was going to be honest.
Yes.
I thought that he was test Thanos.
Yep.
In beta. So I was like, they better make Thanos a better character.
Because he was just like, I want to rule everything. And I'm like, alright.
Okay.
Sure.
Guardians 2, Ego was cool. I really liked Ego.
I like Ego, even though he had basically the same motivation as Ronan.
Yeah.
Just because he's just a fun character.
Yeah. He was a much more fun villain. Even though he still just was like, I will assimilate with everything, and everything will be me.
Yeah.
And that's what matters, is me.
Yeah.
Because he has a big ego! We talk about, there's a lot of big egos in Marvel.
There are. It's a fun character to write. But he's just like, like his charisma surpasses his boring motivation.
Yeah. Let's see, what other movie... Civil War... didn't have a villain.
Civil War had...
It had the what was his name?
Zemos?
Yeah, Zemos.
Zemos.
Who was like trying to, who blew up the UN, killed Black Panther's dad.
Yeah.
He was trying to pit Iron Man against Bucky Barnes.
His motivation was revenge too.
Yeah, it was revenge. He wasn't really all that great of a...
I like how competent he was, though.
Yeah?
That he pulled all that off.
True.
But aside from that, he was just kind of... Zemo or Zemos? I don't remember.
I don't know.
He was some sort of guy.
I'm trying to think of the other movies. I mean, I guess Avengers, we had Loki again.
Because Loki's awesome.
Loki was great. The Avengers. And
Ant-Man had the guy who looked like he from Key and Peele.
Something. Yeah.
Or he pulled off the crazy guy thing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. The thing is, like, even the ones where we were like, yeah, all right, like they're not Loki level of like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And none of them are on Thanos level.
No.
Thanos is like, yes, this guy.
Like, I love Loki as a character, but I think Thanos is a much better villain than Loki ever was.
I love Thanos as a villain. He is freaking awesome.
Oh man, I want a Thanos in D&D.
Good luck.
It's really hard to pull
I would
off.
also like my own Thanos. I just don't think I'm good enough at writing to make one or be original enough to make.
Right.
Like,
I don't want to. Yeah, just exactly rip off Thanos.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, here I am. Like,
I'm pretty proud.
Vendrin retconned as Thanos. He's seeking balance of the.
I'm pretty proud of my. Oh yeah, there's a little parallels there where like the shade is like your evil. Ooh, I'm evil guy, like
Yeah.
And like, well, I don't know that he's evil, but he can. If you're trying to collect data, he comes across that way, where it's like, ooh, evil. And, I like that, and I like that Vendrin's like your typical like, I'm doing. You don't understand, and I don't.
You don't understand. Not yet.
Not yet.
Hopefully someday soon.
Without spoiling anything, I'm pretty proud of my villain my villains that I wrote for my thing.
I'm really proud of my villain for the new campaign I'm doing with my freshman friends, and I really want to do it with you guys because I think you guys really would enjoy it. I'm really proud of them. I really like what they're gonna be like. But
is it in Elevate?
Yeah. Ooh. It is centered in one province instead of going across the world.
Yeah.
So
because like writing, to kind of bounce ideas back and forth. Writing smaller stories is a little easier, and you don't have to worry about MacGuffins, and you don't have to worry about sending them here. Oh, you have to go here. Why? Oh, because over this.
Yeah. I mean, like the province has like 2 major towns and 5 small villages.
Yeah.
That's all it has. And so like you can go to any of these places, but the main quest has certain points.
Small scale, more personal story, like.
Yeah, and like the thing is that, and using it as basically a setup for these people who've never played D&D before. So like it's a small scale campaign that only takes place in the thing. That way they can get their foot in, and then once we get to the end of it, and it's like, okay, now you guys have done this. Now we can see if you guys want to go further.
Yeah. So you keep it kind of small. You keep it maybe a little bit generic because it's their first time D&D, and you want to run them through the typical like their first dungeon and their first like evil guy, and their first quest, and talking to NPCs in their town. Yeah. Their first.
I will definitely say it's a little bit more complex than the most basic of stories. Because I do like to try to have some complex characters in there. Yeah. They haven't met the main villain yet. They will hopefully very soon. But it's definitely one of those things where it's like, I told them at the very beginning, because I really like the idea of actually running through with this, is that every choice they make, everything that they do has an effect on this province. So like in the way the story progresses. Nice. So like, killing people or not killing people will change things. Doing a bunch of other random, like if they do the side quests, they will actually have an effect on stuff. It's not just gonna be like, oh, good job on finding my brother. Here's 5 gold. Oh, thanks. Nice. Like, who knows what the effect of finding this person's brother is? Might ruin the family business. Who knows?
Do you have any problem players that you want to expel without saying names?
Not as of yet. Like, there's been some signs that one of them might be slightly problematic, very similar to other people I've played with before, on different campaigns. That I'm just like, I don't really like this kind of player, but they are doing.
Well, of course, yeah. It's not that. It's very subjective what's a bad player, but like they just don't meld with you very well.
It's not bad yet. Right now, it's like, okay, they're trying some stuff out. I'm sure this is only the second session. I'm sure they'll get better at it as things go on. Yeah, but I wouldn't say like there's a problem player yet. There's one person who I'm like, okay, if they start going down this path, it'll be a little bit much. But if they keep on how they're going, it should be fine. And I think they're gonna keep on. I mean, there's a rogue who's constantly stealing.
Doing the rogue thing.
Constantly stealing. I'm like, okay, and I keep on like trying to make consequences that might entice him for what he's done, and it's just like, no, okay, you didn't care about that. Okay.
People tend to. I guess it just comes with the stereotype, but people need to realize rogues don't have to steal, and you don't have to be a rogue to steal.
It's true. I mean, our other rogue doesn't steal ever, and he's like. He's just very chatty. That's his whole thing. He just like goes up and talks to people, and that's like.
Because that's kind of like I've learned the error of my ways, where I tried to be more roguish. I'm like, I'm not doing things a rogue does, and I was like, I gotta steal. It's like, no, not really. No. Now I feel, that's why I'm in two minds about my first real D&D character that I made, because it's like. I tried to do too much, and now I'm like, I don't know how I feel. I might retcon and rewrite.
Which character is this?
Rat.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, he's part self-insert, part trying to be the best character ever. Because, like when you make your first thing, you try to make it the ultimate, the best, whenever you make anything.
Yeah, it's true. I will say.
And it's like...
My first D&D character, I was like... So here's the thing. My first D&D character, my sister was like, don't make your paladin. And I was like, okay, fine. I won't make my paladin. So I made my warlock instead from WoW. Same, So again,
but it's still like you're like lots of the things that you wanted.
Yeah, and I was just like, yeah, it's gonna be this. And I was talking to the DM about it, and he was like, so no, you can't be a demon. I was like, really? You can be tiefling if you want. I was like, I don't really want to look like a demon though. Right. It was just like, okay, well then you can be a half Faye.
That's the more like people like to say that Mary Sueism is about making your character like the best at everything, but I like to think that the more subtle and easier pit to fall into about Mary Sueism is trying to give your character too much.
And it's just like, eventually it got cropped down to my character wakes up with amnesia, has this weird rock with these runes on it, doesn't know where he is, doesn't know who he is, and that's it. And like the actual backstory was that he was a half fae, half halfling or whatever. So like, or like it wasn't like, or something weird like that. And so like he has all these powers. He's a sorcerer, so he has this magic that he doesn't know where it came from. And so he's just like, okay. And so that's like, I played the character as this guy who doesn't really know what he's doing, but things keep happening. And he's just like, oh, nice, there we go. Ooh, I'm wiggling my hands around. Why isn't it shooting things? It did it last time. Wait, was it this way?
And then you played more characters.
And
then you started exploring the different types of characters you could play, and you became a better player.
Yeah, I became much better than just like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm going to have my character not know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah, that's what I realized after making humble brag only my second character, Storig, who's he steals my heart. Not to be like, you know, a little kind of self-congratulating, but I think he's my favorite character that I've ever made. He's a half-orc bard, and he not only made me love the bard class, but he made me realize that it's okay to play caricatures, you know, because he's just a shop. Oh, my name's Story. I've used the same, like I was developing his voice at the same time we were replaying WoW.
Yeah, right.
I played the
night elf
that was like, oh, I'm pretty dumb. Die! I like to kill things, but like,
yeah.
So like I developed, and like he's a very basic, you know, kind of two-dimensional character. But then now I realize, you know what? I'm okay with that because that's better than, you know, I'm trying to be complex, you know, better than trying to be complex and failing and trying to have a character arc in one session. What are you doing, Joseph?
Yeah.
I listen to those recordings and I cringe, Ian. I cringe at myself.
Wait, which one were you? Which? I'm trying to remember.
It was the first session when I was like, okay, I put my knife up to him and I hold it up to his neck. I'm like, I listened to that. I'm like, God, what is this asshole doing? I'm sorry, by the way.
So out of Rat's character.
Yes, thinking back now, like that is really like I'm sorry, by the way, that you had to put up with that. Like and I'm sure I'm gonna do something stupid tomorrow and regret it, but like, you know, I'm trying to be better all the time.
Yeah. My second character, talking about second characters we ever made, dwarf.
Nice.
Was he a fighter or a berserker?
I
I know, best, but he had 2 black steel katanas.
Oh.
So it was very original.
Nice.
And like I was from
that's, you know, I would say that's, you know, if you want to be going against the grain.
Because like dwarves and katanas don't really mix usually. No. So he's like this dwarf with these 2 black steel katanas. He's from the Dragonspine Mountains or whatever, from this setting that my DM made up. And like he was just a gladiator. That's how like I was like, he was in this town to gladiate.
He sounds cool. He sounds edgy and cool. I want to meet him.
And I really liked playing him. I mean, I failed hardcore at mind control, but
nice.
It was all of us. Fun story. This is why I have not done many charms, because charms are really, really wacky. But it was probably the second session of playing with these guys. You go into this inn at this town that we're doing all these gladiatorial fights at, because that was like the story, is that we were all gladiators at this place. So it was a really nice contained story. It is in one town. And we started talking to this kid, and this kid was like, you know, really sad because of some random thing, and we just kept on talking to him, and we like we just see the DM like roll a dice behind his screen, and he'd be like, what's going on? And we just kept talking and doing things, and then suddenly like we didn't know that 4 days had passed because the kid was actually some demon who had charmed us all, and it was just like, wait, what? Apparently a ton of stuff happened in those 4 days. We were disqualified from the gladiatorial fights and all these things. We were like, wait, how? What? But it was just like, you guys, I'm sorry, I was rolling for your saves here, you know, but it was just not working out in your favor. And I was just like, ah. So we stopped, like, the DM was like, okay, I won't run a charm for a while, you know, and that was a little bit much.
That's the DM's shorthand of saying, okay, you're talking to this NPC for way too long.
I mean, he just kept on encouraging it, it felt like.
Oh.
But, like, because that was, like, part of the charm, was, like, the kid kept on engrossing us more into the story or whatever.
And you just went along with it.
And we were just like, oh,
You're too polite to be like, okay, we gotta go do stuff.
And I was just like, what? So we, like, had to, of course, do, like, a requalification round in the gladiatorial.
I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I think that works with a more experienced group.
Yeah, the DM, he definitely, like, admitted afterwards that he ran that way too early in our...
Yeah, because if you're newer to the game, you wouldn't know to... Because, like, not to hold the standard so high. I'm not saying that you should reach critical role levels, but hypothetically, if there were like a group, a gaming group, you know, about as experienced, like I'm using them as like an example, after a while they would realize like, yeah, we're kind of talking with them a little long. We should take our leave, like, and then be like, okay, thank you, and like kind of stop. You know, instead of trying to get all the information in the world from this one NPC,
right?
Like, which is something that we do as well.
Yes,
like,
you guys.
Like, we ask everything from this one. When odds are, you know, that's why I call me a killjoy, but sometimes I try to end the conversation where it's like, okay, we got like 2 bits of information. I'll say thank you and then leave. But then like everybody else, not to say that they're doing anything wrong. Yeah. Because you know it's tempting to be like, you know.
Because that's the thing is like, especially from a DM's perspective, I have to. I mean, I'll take some of the blame for that because I just allow it a lot of the time. Because I'm just like, you guys are asking me questions, and this guy is in a high enough position to know it probably. Because usually you guys end up meeting some pretty important guys. Yeah. So it's just like, well, I mean, exposition dump, I guess. Yeah. You guys are asking for it. So it's just like, you know, and that's one of the things that I'm working on is definitely like NPCs will be like, I'm done talking to you. I don't care. I just want to go and do things. I'm done.
Yeah. But one thing I really want to do, like, and this is another thing that requires more experienced group is unreliable NPCs.
Oh yeah.
You know, like just like
it's something I can't do in this current campaign.
No,
I really want to.
And I keep playing as if you do too. Like I'm like, we can't trust this guy. Like we don't know him. And like, but then I realize, you know, this is like a simpler game. But like, I want to play and also DM games where there are enough unreliable NPCs where the players think for themselves and not just go after the first thing they're told.
One of the things definitely I want to for our main campaign, because at this point every single one of us has done more campaigns with other people than we have done with our own group. Because Caitlin's been doing the DMs for her own group and is playing with, because she's in a club literally made for D&D.
Jelly.
Heather's in another group that plays. I don't know what she ever does, but she has a character and she does things in that group. And
apparently it's like on and off, and like they played like a couple of times and then haven't in a while.
Yeah. But I mean, even still, it's like that's still making a character and playing more than we have in like a few months.
Eric hasn't though.
Eric did that one in the fall with me.
That's right.
The robot
did that. Yeah.
Stuff. He was based off of that guy from Rick and Morty.
Yeah. Oh boy, here I go killing again.
And he's currently writing one.
Oh.
So. Which I'm excited about. He keeps on asking me questions, and I'm like, hey, what did the same thing with Joseph? You know, it's because he wants to do it in our setting still. Because I like our setting, and I really want. To be entirely honest, I still really hope that one day Heather, this is a challenge if you're listening still, to do a DM. I really want Heather to DM once. Just
because then you can empathize and like be like, whenever we make a request, it's not because we're trying to attack you. It's legitimately because it will help.
And not only that, but it's a really fun experience and creative experience that I think is just like a really cool thing to try. And even if you don't like doing it, you can do a one-off, do one session, and then leave it.
Just like Matt Colville says, it's not the hardest thing in the world, and it is fun. Like, just because you're not being a player doesn't mean you're not having fun. Like, she was telling me, like, all right, as long as you're having fun. And I'm like, of course I'm having fun. That's why I volunteered to DM.
I also really, really, really want to see if Caitlin will ever DM in our setting for our group. Because I really want to see.
I've seen some of her work, like, DMing, and she is fabulous.
Like,
she makes
please,
cool
if you're
characters,
listening to, you know.
And, like, she draws them, too, and it's like, stop, you're making me look bad.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's one thing that I am just like, oh my gosh, there's so many things I want to show you and just like show all of you that I've done for this campaign that I'm working, and also ones that are not ever gonna happen. Well, probably will maybe one day happen, but like are so far out of happening. Because I made an animation.
Whoa.
I made like a legitimate animation using Photoshop of all things.
Wow.
And did frame by frame. No, not exactly, because it has some like, you know, key stoning, what's it called? Keyframing. Yeah, it has some amount of those, so I don't know what I'm doing, but I made an animation, I was like, this is really cool. And I'm like, I'm not playing a game where this happens until, like, probably several years from now, and by then I'll probably be better, and so I will have to just, like, take the animation and redo it. But even still, I was like, this is fun. I made it have sound effects, because I brought it into After Effects and added sounds and things, and it's all like timed correctly so that each of the, you know, parts of the animation, the sound stops and starts at the right time. I was like, this is really fun. But if I showed you, you would have no idea what's going on. You'd be like, wait, what? When did this happen?
Great.
And so it's just like, I'm gonna make another animation for the main campaign.
Yes.
Because I think that would be really fun.
I also can't wait for summer so we can continue Necrohunt.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for Necrohunt. Ryder is going to do some hardcore riding.
Yeah, he is.
I'm gonna ride so hard.
I got plans for Ryder.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Plans for everyone.
Yeah. Everyone, if you're listening, he has plans.
I have plans.
Oh, gosh.
Just wait till I reveal that Kara Miharin's a lizard.
The entire time.
Kara's a lizard. And
Sarah's a lizard?
Sarah? Who?
The little girl, no.
The little girl?
We talked to her.
Oh, yeah, that you saved!
Yeah,
Sarah's a lizard.
Sarah's a lizard.
Her stepmom,
we keep on changing her name.
Emma is a lizard.
And the little boy whose name is something is also a lizard.
Yeah, everyone's a lizard.
The train toy that he played with, that was a lizard.
Yep. The only thing that's not a lizard is his dragon toy.
He is dragon toy.
No, that's actually a fairy.
Yep.
Yeah, and this was a whole plot to this whole thing was a plot for me to bring in
reptilians.
Dragonborn.
Oh, Dragonborn. I see.
Dragonborn characters. Haha! You were fooled.
Great.
They're Dragonborn now.
Retcon that into the content.
So I'm curious. This is not a. I'm not trying to interrogate you, but what was the reason behind? And it can be as simple as I just wanted to. What was the reason behind not having Dragonborn or Tiefling or Orcs?
Okay, so first and foremost, it was I didn't really think of them whenever I was developing the world. Mm-hmm. They weren't really on my radar. So, like, after the fact, when I started looking through more of the character things, I was like, oh, yeah, those guys. And it kind of came down to, like, as I was building the world, there wasn't really a place they fit in yet. Or at least, like, from what has been revealed to you guys and what I know myself, there wasn't really a place for them. Whether or not they show up later is up to debate in my head. Mm-hmm. There's a chance that somewhere out in the ocean there's a place with Dragonborn. Maybe. Mm-hmm. Or maybe there's not. Maybe there's an island that is entirely full of tieflings. Everything there is a tiefling. Or maybe not.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, a lot of it came down to I wanted the world to be its own. That was separated from the more major D&D tropes.
That's
and
admirable.
as I'm kind of working towards things, there's a huge part of me that wants to retcon the heck out of it and be like, there are no elves, there are no dwarves, there are no humans. And replace them with something that is actually unique and actually
just
fun.
Like go 100% unique races.
Because we already have the bold, which I think I'm personally my most unique race out of all of them.
Yeah.
Because they're gelatinous blobs with stones stuck to them to keep them safe, and they like make rock masks.
That's pretty cool.
They can talk through and stuff, and like they attach and detach limbs as they need them, and it's like the whole idea of the bold is like super different compared to anything else in the.
I like them. They're very modular.
I mean, because part of me was like, okay, if I really want to retcon everything, I delete the dwarves and replace them with the bold. The bold are what the dwarves would have been. Because, I don't need to make another race that is what the dwarves were.
Yeah, it makes sense because they're natural builders because they got to build stuff for themselves.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, if I did that, okay, well then what would replace the elves? And so in there I was kind of like, well, the Botanier almost already fit that as well, because a lot of the times elves are seen as the these nature people, right? And then but my elves are very magic based.
Yeah.
So there's also the Silverleaf Botanier. So it's like there's kind of that duality in there as well. So it's like, do I want to replace them with Botanier? Not necessarily. I think I would want to make something different and something new because I like the Botanier as their own thing. The bold I felt really worked modularity into what the dwarves were, but I think the Botanier worked really well as their own thing, especially with the conflicts that I have in mind for the future of the story. And so like there's part of me that's like, okay, I'll figure out some thing that replaces the elves that isn't just an elf copy with a different skin.
Right.
And then the humans are the ones that are like the hardest for me to just immediately replace because it's one of those things where most people put humans into fantasy because it's something that the people who are partaking in the fantasy can relate to. Because it's like, I'm a human.
That'd be very interesting.
So,
a fantasy setting with no humans.
With no humans. And because the thing is like, what I've developed with the bold, with the Panter, with the Botanier, and with the Todsum, also with the Krell, is that they all have like this kind of, they have more diversity in them than the humans currently do. Like there's a lot of ideas for diversity in the humans, but I never get around to it. I mean, like currently the new campaign takes place in Hades, down by Navrin and the west corner of Elavan. And I was like, I want these guys to have an actual culture to them, something that's different. And so they're French-based. They're kind of Frenchy as far as like, I was like, let's make them French. Because I was like, I already wrote that they have this exquisite cuisine and a high society culture. So I was like, what does that fit? That fits very kind of a French aesthetic, a French sounding thing. So Hades.
How's your French accent?
Hold on, let me get into it. Actually, it is not that bad if you try to do it. And I do not try too hard. Too hard, actually, because you have to drop the H's. They do not say.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
H's. So, I've been running around trying to do. Here's the thing.
Eat your heart out, Caitlin. She does a fabulous. She had one character. Sorry to interrupt. She did a fabulous French accent for this one character, and like that one of the players immediately fell for. Because she was like stumbling, and then like the player was like bumped into this NPC, and the NPC, she dropped all her stuff, and the player was like, "Oh, I'll help you," and she like helped, and then she looks up, and then Caitlin shows like a portrait, and then like does this fabulous French accent, and then the player's like, "Oh, I think I'm gay now." I'm like, yes. But all right, continue.
Yeah, so like I'm trying to get the humans to be different because like I like Hades as the French. It's kind of fun. It's kind of cool. It's really difficult to do many different French accents. I can do the heck out of different English accents or like just random accents generally. But if I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, what's the difference between the guard captain who speaks in a French accent and the magister who speaks in a French accent?
Yeah.
The magister is very high-pitched and very airy. But the the god is very like this. You know, it is getting close to Italian, and it gets a little bit harder for you to do.
Sacre bleu.
Sacre bleu. Yeah, so it's like you get gravelly-ish, but then it's like so.
No bueno.
Yes. So there's this weird potential I have where I just delete humans. Right? They were never there. And instead, it's like the Panther have a larger group of people who live further out. The Krell are in the Mountain Kingdoms or whatever. The Krell were the first empire. Whoa, crazy stuff would that have been?
Yeah.
And like they've now been beaten down to these small tribes around. The Tatsum are like the heroic ones that go out, like they're from Navrin, they're the shield of the South, and stuff like that. So it's like there's this idea that you just wipe humanity from the whole map and just kind of move things around and make it so it's like, oh, okay, so it's just these different nations that are not human and stuff. And so like part of me is like, that would be fun. And another part of me like, maybe I do keep the race there for story reasons, but it's not humans, it's something else, and it just gets really complicated because at that point it's like, what else? Yeah. What else really? I mean, Dragonborn, obviously. Yes. Every human that you ever met in the game was actually a Dragonborn, or a reptilian. You know?
Oh no, reptilians! Oh
so,
no! They caused the what's a conspiracy theory? They caused the Flat Earth syndrome.
Flat Earth.
Yeah, that's when you go to Hobby Lobby and you're like, I want to carve a flat Earth. I don't know.
It's fine. So yeah, there was like this. That was an idea that I've had bouncing around my head because I think it would be very interesting because it would make the world wholly unique for the most part. I mean, tree people, there's ants. That's always been a thing.
Yeah.
The frog people, I mean, Chrono Trigger had a frog.
Right. Chrono Trigger had a frog.
The Bold are probably the most unique, but they're just gelatinous cubes with extra arms and legs and rocks on them. The Krell are goblins with cone heads. The
Panther are Tabaxi. Because
they're
Tabaxi is like an official expansion race, right?
Yeah.
And they're basically feline.
Or they're Khajiit if you go to the Elder Scrolls,
which is Tabaxi.
And then the secret race that none of them know about.
Yeah. I know that one.
So,
haha, insider knowledge.
Yeah, well, if we ever do finally get back to the big campaign, that'll one day be released.
Because I confession time, and this is no personal attack to you, but I'm not a fan of how limited the Elevane people is right now.
That's why I started including, that's why I started putting in the Bold being a thing that you could be, and because I was just like, I want you to be able to play as a Krell, because I made the Krell up, and I was like, whatever, and then I was thinking, man, I'm missing at least 3 races from the playable races.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of the whole, to be completely honest, I'm not a fan of the whole limiting the dwarf thing. That just means me. I'm not saying you need to because that's what you want to do, that's what you have fun with, and I wouldn't ever.
Did I ever explain to you the dwarven magic thing? Did I explain to any of them?
I don't know. You just said that they just can't. It's just not inherent in them.
So I'll explain the dwarven magic thing. I'm not a fan of, but because
you like doing it.
Because the thing with the dwarven magic is it's kind of a remnant of an ancient time. When I first wrote the very basics of the idea of Elevane and all of this story, I will admit, playing Dragon Age, and dwarves can't use magic in Dragon Age. I thought that was a really cool little, oh, that's interesting.
We all put in our influences.
But, so it's a remnant of an ancient time, but as I've been working on it, and working on, the story as a whole and everything that's connected, there's, I have an actual lore reason and a real way that it changes in a way that it's not just a static dwarves can't use magic. And so just kind of basic rundown, magic was discovered by the firsts. we know this.
Yeah.
The first magic users went out. There was the last guardian, of
Yeah.
course, Larson. We met him.
And one of them was a dwarf.
One of them was a dwarf, and so that dwarf could use magic and whatever. So the way that magic, from the stories that you would have known, the way that magic was discovered is they found something out in the ocean, and the three people, the human, the elf, and the dwarf, went and found this magic, and as they found it, magic exploded out into the world.
Mhm.
And most of the magic that exploded out was absorbed directly into them. That's why they're so powerful, that's why they're the first, that's why people care about them. Otherwise they would just be some names. And they're like actually big deals. The rest of the magic pulsated out to the entire, around the globe. And the magic works like radiation. It works like a wave, in that it will pass through things and it won't pass through some things, or some things will slow the passing of it. So when magic exploded out into the world, the surface races, everything above ground, was bathed in radiating magic, and thus had the potential to use magic at that point. This includes any dwarf that was on the surface at the time.
Okay.
However, most of dwarven society is underground. And so, when magic bathed the dwarves that were above ground, magic is also not only linked to, like a wave and radiation, it is also intrinsically linked to the soul of a person. And so, like, every person's soul that has ever been touched by magic is like marked by magic. This is what Vendrin was studying. That's what already Liet told you guys about how he was studying the soul. So, and the magic of the soul. So as a collective, the dwarves did not have enough soul magic within them, because most of the magic hit only a very short, small period of dwarves, a small amount of dwarves. So there wasn't enough innate soul magic that was pulsating through all of the dwarven people. If, for example, all the dwarves underground died, there would be enough magic for the dwarves and their people, because the soul would be then this random stuff, blah blah blah. The average amount of dwarves would have magic, and so magic would then be easily usable by dwarves. But because of the way that magic interacts with the soul and how the soul of species is connected, the surface dwarves have the touch of magic, but the dwarves as a people don't have the ability to use it entirely.
Okay.
And the thing is, remember, of course, there's nothing that will ever stop a wave. There's things that will slow it down very, very much, but it will eventually pass through. So there is potential that eventually the radiation from that first explosion of magic into the world will seep through the ground and hit all the dwarves. I don't know when that's happening in my own story. I'm not sure what timeline, how long that takes. But that is kind of the idea, is that like there is a chance that dwarves will have magic one day. And there's a chance that a dwarf right now could use magic. It would just need to be hecka pumped into them to really like overpower the average soul power of the rest of the dwarf
mana
people.
Protein shakes.
Right? So, I mean, like, it's like the Captain America super soldier serum, except it injects you with magic. And it's just like,
Whoa, your eyes are blue now.
And that kind of is, like, one of the reasons, this is a good opportunity for me to talk to you about the race classes that I was talking about a long time ago. Okay. Because those classes. So, here's the thing. I've expanded the system a lot, but I'm still not sure of it, because Eric brought up good points. So, one of the big ones is the Dwarven Augmenter. The idea is a dwarf who uses magically enchanted things to do magic in any form. And so the idea with that is that what it is it's not a dwarf using magic, it's a dwarf using things that use magic. So
wands and staves.
Yeah, wands and staves. So this allows a dwarf to be a wizard, allows a dwarf to be a warlock or a cleric or a paladin, and actually, or a bard, like a full real bard. They have magically enchanted lutes or whatever that do all the things that a normal bard could do with actual magic. And here's the thing: is of course, not only dwarves would be able to be augmenters. Anyone could pick up a wand and use it.
Yeah.
It's just so. The thing with clerics and paladins is a little bit weird because part of the whole thought of clerics and paladins is their magic comes from their deity of whatever it is. So, and their faith and their fervor. And so, I might even make it so it's just like, yeah, I mean, dwarf clerics are easily a thing. Like, now, they're a thing. And paladins, dwarf paladins, not exactly because paladins as a organization don't exist, but warrior clerics would be a thing. So it would be like the equivalent of a paladin.
They'd be paladin in name,
yeah,
but not like...
Not in order. So, like, right now, that is canon. Right now, dwarven clerics, if they believe hard enough in their stone and everything, that's a thing. They can
that's a good way
use the power of the deification of something in order to do it. Yeah. But the augmenter is the idea that a dwarf, or a non-magically talented human or anything would be able to use items to supplement their things. On top of that was then looking at something like, okay, the dwarf tinkerer, the dwarf I have them saved in here. I
think I might have to pack it in soon because I'm running a headache.
Oh no, am I talking too loud?
No, it's been happening since the end of not Age of Ultron, Infinity War.
Ah, okay.
I think I've just had a long day.
Yeah, so it was Tinkerer, Alchemist, and Siegecrafter were the three other classes that were supposed to take up the spots, and I've condensed those all down to just the Tinkerer, and they'd be able to be any of those as their specializations. The Siegecrafter, the whatever, the Alchemist and stuff. So with that, the idea became then of race classes, which would be things like the Dwarf and Tinkerer. So it was like, that's a special thing that dwarves would know how to do immediately and other people could potentially learn. Yeah. And I expanded on that, things like elven spellblades. Mm-hmm. So using that, if you read the enchantment effect things, I mentioned spellblades was a thing, and I put like work in progress by it. And the idea is that it's elven casters who attune with their weapons so heavily that they're able to fling spells from them like all crazily, and it's like this huge fun thing. Like, and they have like
Panter Shaman.
Yeah, Panter Shamans, things like that. I even made one for the Dark Elves, even though no one ever plays them.
Root Master.
Yeah. So the idea is that these would be races specific to that thing. And Eric then brought up the whole point of like, well then, if I'm going to play a dwarf, I'm obviously going to play a tinker.
Right.
Or if I'm going to play an elf, why would I not play a spellblade? That sounds awesome. And so one of my friends who's now in the D&D group that we're doing with the freshmen and stuff, was like, well, what if you make it so it's like a hero class or a prestige class? He didn't really know how to say it, but it was basically saying that at a certain point, as you're leveling up or whatever, you could decide that you wanted to prestige into your racial class. And so it's like, as a human, you could be oh no, humans are worse because I have no idea what their human special would be.
Yeah, because they're the generic race.
So like, if you were a dwarf, right? You say you were a dwarf bard. I was Yorn, right? And I was like, I'm playing Yorn. And at some point, I was like, I'm going to prestige into Tinkerer. And so it's just like multi-classing, where you could be a rogue bard, except it would be like a bard tinkerer, and so you start getting tinker levels. Right. And so it's a thing that like that way everyone can be that eventually if they choose to lose the ability to get their 20th level.
I think that still kind of runs into the same problem where you feel like you have to take it because it's unique to that race. That's
the thing that I'm like still struggling with, because I really like the ideas of them. Yeah. But I don't like I'm just hesitant of the idea of just giving it to everyone all the time, because it's like, these are pretty intense things,
Like, if I wanted to be a jerk about it, I would say, well, you wrote yourself into this corner in the first place, and just go back. But clearly, that's not what you're trying to figure out. Well, now you're in this situation. How do you...
Right.
And so I don't know.
Part of me is like, well, because Because then it gets things like, okay, so like I said, I made one for the Dark Elves. It's the Dark Elf Moon Warden. And it's like this whole thing about like how I wrote a bunch of stuff about the Moon Wardens and how they work and everything. And I was like, if I opened it up to every race and just said these are all prestige classes, but you have to go find a master of that race to learn it or whatever, then it gets really weird if you're suddenly a Dwarven Moon Warden. Because the dwarves have no connection with the moon.
Yeah.
Like, why did you decide to do that? Like, what? Like, I don't understand. They would have to have a heck of a roleplay reason to be a human Panther shaman.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Well, that's always the issue with these more roleplay centered classes, like, you know, like Bard or Paladin, where it's like it kind of does determine somewhat about your character, and some make more sense than others.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. Oh, it's rough. It's really rough.
It is.
I don't know if this is toning it back too much, but you could just make it a feat, like a trait of, I don't know, because that still goes back to like just making it to where dwarves can use magic again.
Yeah.
Like traditional, but
It's just one of those things. It's like I really like everything I've written for all of these ideas of the different classes, because it's just like these they feel so cool, and then it's because they feel so cool that I'm like, everyone's gonna want to do it.
Yeah.
There's no reason that they wouldn't decide to do their class with a racial extra thing.
I don't have any ideas for you aside from the one that you obviously don't want to do, which is just roll back the choice. But that's I don't know.
It's like
I don't know.
Because man, it would be fun if we had some cool because I really like variety, and I 100% agree with you with like as you were mentioning that the variety of choice for playable races or just races in general in Elevan was kind of.
I only realized that when I started rewriting NPCs from when I played it with my online group. I'm like, wow. I put some tieflings and some dragonborn in here, and they can't exist anymore. I have to change them to like dwarves and elves and humans. But that's okay. You know.
I mean, it's like, you could replace.
I have one solution, but this is one that requires extreme amounts of work on your part, and it's more like a team thing. Like you need like Wizards of the Coast teams working on this, and that is giving every race their own set of purely unique classes, and there's no overlap. So let's say dwarves get Tinkerer and
so it's like
Siege, whatever, blah blah blah, and they have
only elves can be wizards or something.
Yeah. But I don't know how limiting you're willing to go.
See, here's the thing. That idea is like really interesting and really cool, and it feels like it's super like close to what I almost ended up doing. But then, as I was working through it, and this kind of rang, it was just like the variety of it kills the idea of you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Because in D&D, that's like one of the big deals is that if I want to play a human I want to play an elf who is only walks on their hands and attacks people with their feet and they're a monk, then I can do that.
Yeah. Or
if
I want to be a half-orc bard who's very soft-spoken, I can, because it's not that limitation.
So you can't do half elves.
Yeah, so then making it so only elves can be wizards is like kind of going it's limiting.
It's like I already made battle mages, right? Like what the heck where does a battle mage fit in any of this? Like,
it fits where you pick fighter and then you multi-class into wizard.
Right. I mean that's what I should have just had her do. It's fine. If you're listening to it.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Battle Mage is confusing as heck.
Battle Mage exists, and it's called multi-class fighter wizard, or paladin wizard, or whatever other monk wizard. Ooh, that's a fun combination.
Yeah.
Key and also
Real
and,
magic.
And magic, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Well, you don't think key is real magic?
No, it's like energy.
Blasphemy. Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Completely different.
Yeah, it's the soul force.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, so it's just a kind of a dilemma. And, like, I am constantly working on writing and rewriting ideas for races and stuff like that. Because, I mean, it's like, as much as I want to fill out that void of the Dragonborns and the Tieflings and the Orcs, is like, Dragonborn, Tieflings specifically, are probably the ones that make the least amount of sense for me to actually, like, put into the world. Because it just, like, I don't know how they would fit in with mythos. I don't know how they would fit in with the rest of, like, the races. If they would be just if they just appeared one day.
Sounds like someone's making excuses for himself. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Have you ever tried writing an entire universe?
No, and I'm sure it's very difficult.
You gotta, I mean...
I'm sure it's the, like...
It's fun. I love it.
Yeah,
I love
but
it
it's
to death.
complicated.
But it is so complicated.
I don't doubt it.
No, it's like, I mean, I would say give it a go sometime because it is nice.
I've spitballed some ideas, like
yeah,
the idea of,
well, I could probably eventually fit Dragonborn in. I wouldn't mind it. I think Dragonborn are pretty cool.
Do what you got.
I would probably rework them to be a little bit more, because here's one of the things. It's like, in D&D, the rules are if you're a dragon, like if you're a colorful dragon, then you're evil. The chromatic dragons are all evil. And so it's like, I had a blue dragon who was good, or at least perceived to be good. And so it's like, I don't care about the rules of D&D as much as, you know, because it's my world.
Kind of your vision, yeah.
So it's like, if I want the Dragonborn to be a thing, but instead they're based, except like all their dragonness is, it's like they're completely human, but with like raptor toes. Yeah. Then it's like, that's what my dragon is.
Yeah, you did, like, there's no reason, you just
I mean,
want
like,
it.
there are snake people out in the deserts. They can, you know, migrate, but it's like, I don't know if snake people are analogous to Dragonborn, really. They're not exactly the same. They spit hot venom, but not hot fire.
I think my headache's starting to come on, so I think that I call it a night. It's okay.
Alright.
But I enjoy hearing about, we went from Infinity War to talk about D&D.
Yeah, that'll be the Infinity D&D.
Infinity D&D with tons of spoilers.
Yes, don't listen to this if you haven't listened. Spoiler alert at the
Spoilers!
Very end, I'm spoiler alerting. Man, Thanos was a lizard.
The whole time.